Welcome to the JEMS Report, brought to you by Clarion Events, Fire and Rescue Group, and the Journal of Emergency Medical Services. My name is Ted Lee, and I'm the editor-in-chief of JEMS Magazine. Along with Jeff Frankel, our managing editor, we will be bringing you EMS leaders and experts in the field to talk about subjects impacting EMS today. Today, we have two very special guests with us from Sunstar EMS in Florida. Malachi White, the Director of Recruiting, and Shelby Papa, the Clinical Services Coordinator. Thank you for joining me today, guys.
Thank you, Ted, for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So, Malachi, why don't you start? Give us a little bit of your background so the audience knows who you are and where you're coming from.
All right, great. So I'm Malachi White. I'm the Director of Recruiting for Sunstar Paramedics. I have been with the company now for 8 years. Previously, I was in the Air Force where I was a recruiter and kind of translated those skills over and brought them to the EMS world, and have been with the company a little over 8 years now.
Great. Thank you for your service. Shelby, how about you?
Yeah, so my name is Shelby, obviously. I am one of the four clinical coordinators with Sunstar. I have also been with the organization for about 8 years. I think Malachi has me beat by 1 month. But prior to coming over to Sunstar, I worked over in the hospital doing some lab medical assistance work. And then prior to that, I did some traveling throughout the state of Florida doing preventative screenings for different communities.
Great. So why are we talking about Sunstar Paramedics today? Why are we here? What kind of message do you have?
Well, so honestly, I believe this, Sunstar is known pretty well throughout the nation, but we just want an opportunity to just continue to talk about some of the cool things that we have going on, and, why looking at Sunstar Paramedics is a place that you should consider employment, because it's a great place to work, it's a great place to live, and we wanted everyone in the nation to know that.
Well, great. So where is Sunstar Paramedics located geographically?
Yeah, so we're on the sunny west coast of Florida. So Pinellas County, Clearwater, St. Petersburg, Largo area. So right across the bay from Tampa. So, like you have, the bay in Los Angeles, and you get over to San Francisco. It's kind of like that for us, where Tampa's over on the east of us, and then we have the bay, and then you come over to Pinellas County.
So right there on the coast, Hurricane Central, you guys get impacted by the weather quite a bit?
I would say that, we do see hurricanes, but, it's one of those things. If you live down here, you kind of get used to it. You know what to expect. We've gotten pretty good at, bunkering down and getting through the storms relatively unharmed.
So tell me a little bit about the service and the community in which it serves. What's the population, square mile, call volume, things like that?
Well, so Sunstar, Pinellas County is a really large. It's the most most densely populated county in the state of Florida. So we have well over 1 million residents here. The area is large. I had that written down on the square miles of how big we were, but it's a pretty big area. And we service Pinellas County, so we do 100% of the transports in Pinellas County. So we do all ALS 911, BLS, in-facility, critical care. Basically, anytime a patient is moving, they're going to be moving in a Sunstar ambulance if you're in Pinellas County.
Yeah, so geographically speaking, for a county, square mileage wise, we're only about 238 square miles from the tip of the northern part to the most southern part. So when we talk about square mileage, we're really not that large. We just have such a high, dense population with having over 1 million residents who live there. So you can imagine our call volume is on the higher side. I do know that, relatively speaking, we are one of the busiest EMS systems within the nation, but that does not take away from the quality care that we put out for our patients in our community.
So how many ambulances do you have for this service? And then, of course, the breakdown, are they all ALS or are they mix? Because you mentioned that pretty much everybody that was moving in the county was moving through Sunstar Paramedics.
Yeah, so right now we have around 95 ambulances. Of those 95 ambulances, 18 of them are BLS in-facility vans. So, they do the majority of the inner facilities. And those are manned by 2 EMTs or an EMT and an EMR. And then the rest of our trucks are ALS. So if you're a paramedic and you come to this system, you're going to be on an ALS truck running 911s. I would say 70% of the inner facilities are done by the BLS inner facility trucks. And our hope eventually is that they are able to capture 100% of it. So as our fleet continues to grow, and it is definitely growing, our plan is that eventually those BLS trucks will be able to take care of all of the inner facilities.
Well, historically, the things that usually drives the medics to one service versus the other were the 2 Ps. It was either pay or protocols and equipment. It was one or the other. So let's stick with like protocols and equipment. What sets Sunstar Paramedics apart? What do you guys have? What are you working on? Because a lot of people are looking for the kind of the latest and greatest or newest techniques. So.
Shelby, I'll let you talk about protocols because that's probably more your
Yeah.
lane than mine.
So protocol-wise, we actually just did a pretty big update to our protocols. We have 10 to 11 different medical directors or associate medical directors, but we have one lead medical director, which is Dr. Angus Jamison, and he's actually the medical director for also the state of Florida. So our protocols, I would say, are pretty in line with the average. With us having so many different disciplines that can be employed within Sunstar Paramedics as an EMR, an EMT, a paramedic, or even a critical care paramedic or a nurse, there are multiple different areas that you can kind of operate in. So our EMRs and our EMTs, they have their own set of protocols, and then our paramedics will have their own set of protocols and vice versa for the other disciplines as well. So as being a paramedic, you have the Bible, right? That allows us to be able to do what we do. But one of the really good things that we have is the ability to always med consult and get on with a doctor in real time, 24 hours a day, to kind of ask for what we want if it doesn't fit within those parameters, and be able to receive that feedback and be able to do the things that we'd like to do.
What about specialty equipment or like specialty teams? I mean, you mentioned pretty much transport, but do you have other things that people tend to look for?
So we have critical care team as well, and so we have critical care trucks, but then also we have CCPs where you can have that training for critical care, but you're on a regular truck. So in the event that our critical care trucks are unavailable, we still have someone that can operate and do some extended scope of practice while being on a 911 truck. So that's really cool. As far as additional equipment, all of our trucks that I mentioned are outfitted with Stryker power load stretchers, and it's so funny to see people that come from other agencies or other companies that they get here and they see the equipment that we have with, to run the LifePak 15 monitors. Our trucks are in excellent condition. So, I sometimes feel like our employees, they don't know how good they have it just because if they start out in this system and start working in this system, they think that that's the norm, but it is absolutely not the norm, right?
So that's great. So before we get into the other P, pay, of course, the other thing that tends to drive people now, especially post-COVID, you seem to see it more, is that work-life balance. So, what's unique about, living in that area, and, what are some of the things that, people might be drawn to be other than just the beach? Because I mean, that's kind of the myth that's there, that anybody that's living on the coast is like, oh, I live at the beach. And not everybody lives at the beach.
So Shelby, you want to answer that one?
Yeah, so one of the really great things about Pinellas County is we're centralized right in the middle of everything. So regardless of kind of where you are, you're about 30 minutes away from the city life, you're about 30 minutes away from the beach if that's your go-to, 30 minutes away from beautiful trails that you can go bike riding on and running on. And we're not far from Orlando. So Pinellas County itself, with it being so centralized, it's easily accessible to wherever we want to go. We're usually a bridge or two away from those different types of atmospheres that may not include the golf and the sandy beaches. So I just really feel like Pinellas County has a lot to offer to its people who come down here from out of state. And there's just so many different things that you can do if the beach is not your type of lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the county gets around 6 million visitors annually. So it is a very busy area and a lot of things going on. They do their spring training down here for some of the major league teams, as well as we have the Tampa Bay Rays, we have the Lightning, which they're two-time champions recently. So we're proud of the Lightning. We have the Bucks. They joke that this is called Champa Bay because we're just used to winning down here. But there is really a lot of things. If you go further inland, there's more things. Disney's right down the road, and so it's just if you want to be outside, and if you want to go out and do a lot of things, you have every opportunity here. It's why we have so many visitors. It's probably what keeps us so busy because during spring break. And then the snowbird season, it keeps us really busy because they're both making bad decisions, and we have to take care of them.
Yeah. What about internal culture for Sunstar Paramedics?
This is one of the things that I'm most proud of about this company is that we do our annual surveys every year, and our leadership takes those surveys and they actually make meaningful change based off of what the employees are asking for. We do a lot of events for the employees. We do a monthly event, and then we also do like a monthly barbecue. So every month, the directors get out and flip burgers for the employees. Every month except for June and July, I believe, because it's just so hot. So we order Italian ice for everyone during those months, and we give that out. But we literally do something every month. They've done a kickball game. I did not participate. The last thing I'm going to do is run and try to kick a ball at my age. But they seem to really have a lot of fun with that. We do things for the family. They did trick-or-treating for kids. We do a turkey dinner for all the employees and their families to come on Thanksgiving. We call it Turkey Enduro because basically we start cooking at 9 and we're serving a turkey dinner from about 10 o'clock all the way until 9 o'clock at night. So that gives crews an opportunity. They're diverted off of the road to come in and get some food, and they can bring their family in. We do an annual holiday party. Obviously, we go to all these sporting events in the area. We've even done a family EVOC, the obstacle course. So your kids or your loved ones can come and actually see what it's like to drive an ambulance because, you talk about the job and they don't really understand exactly what's going on. So just letting them get behind the wheel of an ambulance gives them the opportunity to see, okay, this is hard. This is a 10,000-pound vehicle that doesn't stop real good. So it's a really good opportunity for letting them see what we do. We do an Easter picnic. We did a poker tournament. We do karaoke night, family bowling night. We went deep sea fishing, comedy club night, and that's all happened this year. So it's a really busy system, and so we do work hard, but we like to play hard as well and make sure that we provide opportunities for our employees to get some much needed time off and enjoy themselves.
Yeah, just a sense of family here is great. I don't think there's anybody in mid-level management or above who doesn't know everybody who works here. Just last weekend, I was in a different state attending the Tampa Bay Rays game, and ironically enough, our CEO and our COO were also going to that game. So, just the sense of family here and the sense of belonging is really big. Malachi mentioned, we work so hard. This job as a EMR, EMT, a paramedic, whatever in EMS is hard enough. So to not have that sense of belonging, I imagine is really difficult. And that's something that I'm really proud of to be a part of.
Yeah, that's great. So from the business side or the work side, you guys mentioned that you employ EMRs, which is kind of rare. Not every company does that. What's the internal professional development? If somebody came in as an EMR and wanted to progress up through the company, what opportunities are available for them to go through that?
So hiring the EMRs is actually by design for professional development. We actually don't have EMRs on staff for that long. The idea for the EMRs are, it's a nationwide shortage of paramedics. And so, instead of hunting for them, we just decided to grow our own. So the idea behind the EMRs is to bring them on. They work at the company for 6 months. After 6 months, we send them to a school of ours, and we have a partnership with the school that's owned by the same company as we do, and we send them to EMT school, and they get their EMT license, and from that point they transition to working from an EMR to an EMT, and then after a few months, if they decide they want to continue forward, they have the opportunity to go to paramedic school. We have that scholarship for them. So the EMR is 100% about professionally developing our employees and also impacting the community. So giving people that work in that community that don't necessarily have any clinical background an opportunity to put their foot in the door, and then we'll train them and get them where they need to be.
And the EMR program is very special to us, mainly because our department is kind of the ones who created it. And it's been such a huge success to not only the organization, but also to the community, but more importantly, to these individuals' lives. Like Malachi mentioned, we hire them sometimes straight out of high school. They're 18, 19 years old. And some of them don't really have that life experience of being able to kind of withhold a higher level of maturity that it takes to have this job. So the fact that we get to grow them not only professionally but also internally is very rewarding. So the program has been extremely successful, and I don't think I know of any other companies that kind of offer that. We will adjust their schedule when they're in EMT school to where they're actually on site in this building 2 days a week doing their homework or their classroom work, and we will have a staffed preceptor or FTO or one of us with them to be able to answer those questions and to provide even more training and expertise in real time, which is really important.
That's great. So what's the onboarding process like if somebody's coming to join you guys?
So the onboarding process is pretty easy. We've streamlined it pretty well, but basically they'll need to apply on our website at sunstarems.com and put an application in for the position that they're applying for. For paramedic and EMT, you need to have the Florida paramedic or EMT license, and the state of Florida accepts the national registry. So if you have your national registry, pretty easy process to go to the Department of Health to apply for your Florida license. But once you have your Florida license, you just apply to the website. Someone will contact you usually within 24 hours. To schedule an interview with you. We do our interviews remotely using Microsoft Teams just to kind of make it easier for the candidates, especially for our out of state or out of the local area candidates. We do our interviews just like we're sitting right here, and we go over the documents with them. We share the documents and they electronically sign things. And then from that point, there's a physical agility, drug screening, background check. And that's pretty much it. It's pretty straightforward, and everything is done electronically. They can sign off their documents electronically. The only thing that needs to be done in person is the drug screening and physical agility. And then we set them up for the next orientation. We do an hiring orientation every month. So we have a class. If you can't make this class, we're always going to have another one for the next month.
So, and then that brings us to the last P that of course a lot of people pay attention to or want to know about. So, what's the pay like? And then of course, I understand that you guys have like relocation program as well. So, why don't you tell me a little bit about those?
Yeah, I feel like you kind of buried that. If I was listening to this, I'm like, you should have asked about the pay first, right? But for us, the pay is something that we're very proud of. We are absolutely the highest paid private agency in the Tampa Bay area. So our medics will start out working, and their starting pay is $26.04 an hour, and that's until October 1. At October 1, the pay goes up to $27.75 for all medics starting out. And keep in mind, this is Florida, so they don't have to pay those state taxes. So you get to keep actually more of your money. Our EMTs start at $26 an hour, and they will be at $22 an hour in October. Both of those positions, the pay will continue to go up every year in October as part of our collectively bargained agreement. And then our EMRs are at $16 an hour, and they will go to $17 in October. Our EMRs, our vehicle supply technicians, they're making more than probably what most EMTs make in this area. But we feel like it's an important mission. It's an important job, and so we want to make sure that the pay is commensurate with the work that they're doing. So I think that's important. As far as some of the bonuses, we have a few different bonuses for our local paramedic hires. The sign-on bonus right now for paramedics are $10,000. We have a relocation assistance for in-state of Florida. So I think it's $2,500 that you add to that $10,000 bonus. So basically $12,500 bonus for in-state paramedics. And then for out-of-state paramedics, we have a one-of-a-kind relocation bonus where we pay paramedics $30,000 to move to Florida. And I can tell you, being military, I'm used to moving, and I can remember how much of a hassle and how much of a pain in the butt it is to uproot your entire family and move to a completely different state. It's not fun. And so that relocation bonus is there to really help, offset a lot of the costs it takes to move your family, but also helps you along the way, because the way it's set up, during that first paycheck, we'll pay you the first payment on your bonus of up to $5,000. You'll have to turn in the receipts for your move. But after that first payment of $5,000, once you're done with your training, you go through our academy, which is around 75 days. We'll pay you another payment of $5,000 because now that you're settled in, we know you're going to be here. We're going to give you that next payment. And then at your 1-year anniversary, we pay you a $10,000 bonus. And at your 2-year anniversary, we pay you a $2,000 bonus. So it's kind of a sign-on, relocation, retention bonus all rolled into one. I've never seen anything like it, and it's something that we're really proud of.
Yeah, it is quite unique to see that, and people have picked up and moved for less, and
Absolutely.
having the opportunity though for that is quite a windfall for the individual.
Absolutely.
So we're just about wrapping up with time. Is there anything else that you'd like the listeners to know that kind of sets Sunstar Paramedics apart, and why it's such a great place to work?
Absolutely. I think I kind of have the story that kind of justifies the whole purpose of this podcast, of kind of informing, listeners as to why they should come to Sunstar. Some 8 years ago, when I first got hired here as an EMT, I was up for a position at my current job. So I was very indecisive as to if I really wanted to come here. And it was scary and terrifying. And I took that leap of faith, and it was honestly the best decision that I have ever made. When I got hired here as an EMT, after, about 6 to 7 months, I quickly became a preceptor. And then from there, I became a field training officer and worked my way up the rank to where I am right now. So I think just knowing the growth that you can do within this organization on so many different levels is really what sets us apart. And knowing that everybody in the leadership or management team is going to support you regardless of how that looks. If you are a clinician here and maybe you want to take a different avenue or go down a different pathway, we will 100% support that. And that's really what I feel like sets us apart.
And I'd just like to add the opportunity for not only personal growth but professional growth is just amazing here. When I was in the military, if I saw someone and I saw their rank, I could absolutely immediately know this person has been through this training, just because of their rank, and I knew what development that they had. And so I was really glad to see that, Sunstar partnered with Safe Tech Solutions. It's a leadership training specifically designed for EMS. And I now know that when we see our supervisors, we know that they've been through this professional development and showing them, not only how to be good at your job, be a good clinician, but also lead good clinicians and lead because a lot of times we're promoted and you're put into positions because you were good at your job, but that doesn't necessarily mean you will be good at supervising and managing a team. And so we want to make sure that we take that time to develop our leaders, and they're going through training 2 or 3 times a year. We have a leadership group that Shelby is actually, she's probably not going to mention it, but she's actually one of the instructors for, that actually help develop our assistant supervisors, our supervisors, and anyone that wants to have an opportunity to grow as a leader.
Yeah, it's funny. We actually have them on site right now. They come from multiple different states throughout the U.S., but we are actually housing a Safe Tech conference on our site this week, and we have about 25 individuals or supervisors, assistant supervisors, managers from all of our different companies or parent companies. That is 100% correct. You can be the best clinician, but then maybe you get promoted in the fact that we will ensure that you get that leadership development is really important, because not only can you use that in your current job, but that also will help you in future jobs as well.
Well, that's great. Well, I want to thank you guys again for spending time with me this morning. It was very nice meeting you and hearing about Sunstar Paramedics. And I look for great things to hear from you guys in the future.
That's
Thank you,
awesome. Thank you
Ted.
for having us.
Appreciate it.